I think this trade specifically has made them championship contenders.
From a basketball perspective, come on, gang. Let's build real teams. We're not doing it. We're done with the super teams. Because of where we are in the playoffs, I just wanted to do some recapping of some of the offseason, maybe not necessarily from this year. Well, what happened?
Nah, Mike Conley was about to hit some crazy step back three. Go ahead.
He almost got a clip. He almost got clipped, man. He almost got a clip off.
I wanna look back at some of the trades, not necessarily from this offseason, but just from the recent years, recent offseasons, recent during seasons, to see how they have affected these teams, whether it be positively, negatively, and potentially give them a regrade now that we've seen, probably some of the aftermaths of the situation. I'm going to start off with Big Truck, Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves. Jazz received the 3 first-round unprotecteds, top 5 protected in 2029. Michael Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, and some other dude. Based off of what we're seeing, what is the now regrade of that trade?
The Rudy Gobert trade?
The Rudy Gobert trade.
A+.
Okay.
I think that's a trade that, bro, I think Minnesota is one of those teams that's been a laughing stock, similar to the Kings, all these conversations we've had with the Knicks. They just want to be relevant for X amount of years. And I think this trade specifically has made them championship contenders in a matter of 2 seasons. I don't think they'd be where they at without Rudy Gobert. So, A+.
I'll give it a B+, A- at best.
Yeah. Went just for before Sage goes, 42-40 last year, lost in the first round to the Nuggets 4-1. Now they are 56-26, third in the West, and they are about to lose in the second round to the Nuggets, potentially. So, Sage, you got a regrade?
I didn't necessarily hate the idea of it at the time. I always think that at some point teams can overpay for things to better fit them long term. With hindsight, with the powers of hindsight, I'd go to like a B+. I don't think it's like a home run hit. Obviously, it's still a significant overpay, but it's definitely worked out for them. It's definitely not a bad trade. I think for me to call a trade a A+ or whatever, it has to, especially with the power of hindsight, it has to directly lead to a championship, what's possible, or it was just shit. You still won that trade via like scammer get scam buddy type shit. So, and I don't think the second part of that applies.
Definitely about to get worse because I think that might be the highest ranked trade. Next one, Paul George for SGA, Danilo, and all the picks in the world.
That's obviously a trade that's aging like milk. I don't know if I want to go F, but I'll go D. The reason I'm not going F is because Paul George has been there consistently for you. Kawhi Leonard, if anything, has been the reason as to why your team couldn't have potentially gone as far as it's supposed to go. However, because of Kawhi Leonard not being there, health being an issue and all of those things, it'd be pretty fucking nice to have a young guy like SGA on that team right now. So it's especially knowing that SGA and Kawhi Leonard would just fit together. So yeah, it's just tough.
I say for me personally, I feel like I still feel like it's a win-win trade. I would say it's a B+ for the Clippers, definitely an A for the Thunder for how things are looking in hindsight.
Yeah, I think there wasn't really anything wrong with the trade. Like Sage said, Kawhi's the problem. That's the guy that's not consistently showing up. I think in terms of the direction they wanted to go in, that was a trade that you make. So it's one of those things that it definitely would have been justified with a championship, but it's just there's no championship. So I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it a B, B-.
Yeah, it depends how you view it. Obviously, I'm just of the mindset that like because Kawhi isn't there, and majority of the reason the trade didn't work out is because of him. I'm thinking of what if you had SGA instead of Paul George? Instead of Paul George, do you win a championship? Probably not. But you're not scared to say, you know what, Kawhi, get out of here. So that's why I'm still harsh on the trade. But that's what the power of hindsight. In terms of assets, it's fine.
Just for me, real quick, from a business perspective, probably just an A+. Like even for both sides, Thunder became good, MVP caliber player, SGA. Clippers were going through this real deal transformation, and they were trying to take it much, much, much more seriously under the Steve Ballmer regime. New stadium, got all the LA boys there together. Don't know what it's going to shake up before they get into the new stadium, but I think it ended up well. From a basketball perspective, come on, gang. Let's build real teams. We're not doing that. We're done with the super teams. We done with the super teams. That's my cold take of the week. We done with the super team. Let's build real teams.
I had the hot take about 2 weeks ago saying the definition of super teams needs to change.
Next one. Kings, Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, 2027 second round pick. They got all that from the Pacers, who got in return Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson.
Another win-win trade. A's both ways.
Retweet.
Yeah, pretty boring segment here. Maybe I'll go B plus versus the A's.
Dude, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know about A's both ways, but definitely B plus regardless. Maybe if I had to pick a victor, the Pacers. I think not only is it too soon to call someone an objective loser, but even if that's not the case, both teams are in similar positions. Both teams are more relevant than they were in the past. Yeah, I'd say.
I guess Kings. That grade is sliding every single year. Every single year.
They're just a tougher conference. That's my only.
We had this conversation a couple months ago, and you specifically said the trade was fine.
Yeah, I'm off that bandwagon. I've been watching some Legend of Winning videos. I'm off that. I'm off that one.
He didn't say anything new. Like, oh my god! All right.
I'd be harsher on the Kings, but they still won 46 games. We're talking about a conference that 46 and 36 was a 10 seed. I can't hate that, but so much. The Pacers won a literal extra game on them.
Guys, the NBA playoffs are heating up, and I am excited to bring to you Prize Picks, the best way to play daily fantasy sports. All you're going to do is download the app, go to the website, and then you're going to select your players and make some picks. I'm going to go Evan Mobley, more on points, easy one. And I'm going to go Devin Booker, less on his PRA. I'm going to put some money in, $1 million. I'm going to go ahead and hit place entry.
And if you use code LKIB, PrizePicks will match up to 100% on your first deposit up to $100.
Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this episode. Okay, cool. Let's go to one that I think we'll have a lot of static about. Maybe we'll have some disagreements. The Donovan Mitchell Cavaliers trade, where Donovan Mitchell went to the Cavaliers, and then Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochi, none of the rest of the stuff really matters, went to the Utah Jazz. I'm giving this a B plus, as close to an A as possible if I'm going by Sage's criteria, but an A plus for the Jazz. They look pretty good for the future as far as rebuilding goes. They clean the books pretty well, and Lauri Markkanen has shown himself to be pretty good. Now they got to make a decision on him pretty doggone fast, but I'm really loving that. For the Cavs, after what we talked about earlier in this podcast, straight up G minus.
G minus. Damn.
G minus. G minus.
I would say for the Jazz, definitely is a B. I'd say it's a B trade. I would say for the Cavs, because I don't agree with the decision, I'm going C plus.
For me, the Jazz, I'm going B minus. I don't think that this is something too crazy of a haul necessarily that they got, but it's pretty good. In terms of Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland, I'd say C plus, only with the power of hindsight, knowing that Evan Mobley wasn't ready to take the next step. Darius Garland not only would seemingly regress, but let alone just was never going to be a fit with Donovan Mitchell. They didn't do a good job building around him. So when you make a trade like this, when you make an all-in type of trade, I want to see the remaining roster go all in, and it kind of felt like they just signed Jared Allen, traded for Donovan Mitchell, and said, bet, let's ball, and that was a fumble.
Yeah, the Jazz, B plus, and then for the Cavs, I think what they tried to pull off was like what the Heat did with Jimmy Butler, bringing him on with Bam and Tyler Hero, but it just did not work out. On top of like his help also being injured, I didn't like the move in the first place. I didn't think if they were, because Donovan Mitchell wanted to get traded to go to a better winning situation, to win a championship specifically. And the backcourt of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland defensively was just never going to win anything. So,
and I want to know. Let me also say this. I got them at a G minus right now. If he tainted the locker room in any sort of way, it's going lower. If it doesn't work out, it's going lower. I'm going to attribute it square to Donovan Mitchell being on this team. If they don't develop properly, if Evan Mobley starts to get antsy, if Darius Garland starts to get antsy and wants to get out, Jared Allen too, I'm blaming it squarely on Donovan Mitchell, and that G minus will go down straight up. That's just the way it is. Last one. this is not necessarily a trade, but just some acquisitions, and it's not even necessarily direct, but it's close enough. So we'll tie it in. The Mavericks losing Porzingis, him taking a stop somewhere else, and the Boston Celtics picking up Porzingis. How are we grading that?
Say it again. You said Porzingis and who?
Yeah,
The Mavs
the
losing
Mavericks
Porzingis?
losing Porzingis.
We didn't even get it from the Mavs, right?
No, I know. He
Okay,
took some stops.
Yeah, he's saying that Dallas Mavericks moving on, and you guys, Dallas moving on. Addition by subtraction. I think they major addition by subtraction. They were able to build a deeper roster. Not only a deeper roster, but a roster that's more necessary for Luka Doncic. KP's obviously tall. I know my 2K heads are going to think it, but he wasn't a lob threat. He wasn't a guy that was one of these athletic freaks in nature. They need to go out there, be somewhat switchable, and then block shots. Well, he can block shots, but I wouldn't call him a switchable defender. So I think addition by subtraction, he just wasn't the right guy for them. Boston, if he was healthy, would be a slam dunk. It's just unfortunate that he's injured right now. But other than that, it's a win-win.
I think Luka and Porzingis work. It's just Luka as a 2 next to Porzingis, that doesn't work. Because ideally, like even right now, if Porzingis, you slide him into PJ Washington's role, be a pick and pop threat, corner 3, lob threat, can play the dunker. That Porzingis does that, and he protects the rim. But just as a 2, that wasn't gonna work. I don't think they regret trading Porzingis, even in hindsight. And then for the Celtics, I'm gonna give that one a B+. That's gonna turn into an A+, depending on how the finals roll out. It's just disappointing that we got him specifically for the playoffs, and he's only played like 4 games, maybe even 2. I don't know. He just hasn't played that much in the playoffs, which is why we got him. But yeah, I do think he's the difference maker from the biggest change from last year to this season as to why this team is built different. So, great move for the Celtics.
I mean, A++, because Tingus sucked in Dallas. He just didn't work next to Luka. Don't know if it's a race thing, but yeah, he just didn't work. And then I would say him getting picked up in Boston, it's an A move. I like him on Boston, I like the fit. A team being led by 2 twos, picking up another 2 is always a good idea.
Porzingis was jealous. That's all I got to say.
Oh, wow.
So and admitted it. No, I'm not saying nothing that's crazy. No. He was jealous of Luka Doncic. He made the situation a little worse than it could be. Nothing else more to say there.